Okay, let's talk about angles in standard position. So you have a circle. We are going to talk about positive and negative rotation. First of all, what is that? So 0 degrees on a circle always starts right here on the positive x-axis, and it goes in this direction counterclockwise for positive rotation. And it goes this way clockwise for negative rotation. All right, so let's say we have an angle that is 60 degrees. So I'm going to draw 60 degrees in there. So I start, this is presumably the center of the circle at the origin. So I've got a radius. It's going to start here at 0 degrees, and then we're going to go up to, I'm just going to estimate this, right here to 60 degrees. So we are going in the positive direction like this, 60 degrees here. We're going counterclockwise to go positive. Now we've got names for these. We call the starting at the 0 there, this side over here, we call this the initial side, like beginning, right? And then wherever we end up with that part of the angle is called the terminal side. Terminal side right here. Okay, so you always have an initial side which should start at 0, and then it goes to the terminal side wherever the angle is. So when you have a counterclockwise or a positive rotation, that's positive, those two things are the same. You start with your initial side on that positive x-axis here, and your angle is between 0 and 360 degrees, or theta stand here. This is theta right here, okay? Name, just the name of the angle. Or you've got 0 to 2 pi radians. Same thing, one's degrees, one's radians. If you are in the first rotation of a circle, and we'll talk about that in a minute, you are in standard position. Okay, so let's talk about other ways you can name this angle right here. So here is another thing. What if we start at the initial side, but we go this direction, we rotate in the negative direction, and we still end up at the same terminal side. So you have the same initial side, you have the same terminal side, but this time you've gone backwards. So you started at 0, you went negative 90, you went another negative 90, so you're now at negative 180, another 90, so now you're at negative 270, plus another 30 there, you are at negative 300 degrees. Okay, when you have the same initial side and terminal side, these are called coterminal angles. Okay, same initial, so they have the same initial and same terminal. Okay, coterminal have the same initial and the same terminal side. It's just different ways of looking at it. Okay, so we're going to get into this even a little bit deeper in just a second. I just want to try to do a couple of examples of these initial side, terminal side. Okay, so here, positive 60 definitely is in the standard position. That's what we like, okay? The negative 300 is actually the same way of, it's a different way of saying the same angle, but it is not in standard position. Let's do another example. So I'm going to take away some of this right here. Let's do another angle. Sorry. Okay, so let's do this angle right here. Let's do let's say negative 45. Okay, so here's your initial side. Here's your terminal side. I'm going to write that here. Initial, terminal is here. And now this whole time you are going backwards because it's a negative angle. So there is negative 45 degrees right there. Okay, is it in standard position? No, because it is not between positive 0 and 360. Okay, it is not in standard position. So if this was the angle given to you, if you want to put this in standard position, you start at the positive, you go at the initial side, and you go in the positive rotation in this direction all the way around to here like this. So you have the same initial and the same terminal, but you're going in the positive rotation. You are still between 0 and 360, okay, which is just one rotation of the circle. What is that angle going to be? What's that? 360 minus 45. That should be what? 315? Is that it? 315 degrees. So 315 would be coterminal with negative 45. Coterminal, but 315 is the standard position. Okay. Let's try another angle right here. Let's go and do another concept right here. I'm going to erase some of this again. All right, now let's try something like 150. Okay, so here's your initial side, positive 150 degrees. Okay, so where is 150 going to be? Which quadrant? Here we have quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, quadrants go in, they start with the quadrant 1, which is your positive, right? If this is 0, 0 here, this is positive x's, positive y's over here. Okay, quadrant 1 starts here and it goes in a, again, counterclockwise direction when you count the quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4. So 150 is going to be here from this one to this one is 90 degrees, right? And then to the next axis over here, that's 180. So 150 is going to be somewhere around here. Okay. So here's the positive direction. So 150, it is in the positive rotation, it's going counterclockwise, which is positive. Initial side is on the positive x-axis and it's between 0 and 360 degrees. So 150 is in standard position. Now, if we want to name coterminal angles with it, now you know one of them already. One of them is starting here at the initial side and going backwards in the negative rotation. So what would that be? Back 90, back another 90, that would be back 180 plus another 30. So that would be that backwards 210 degrees. So negative 210 is also coterminal with 150. Okay, but the 150 is the way we like to see it for standard position. Here's one more concept to go along with coterminal angles, and then we'll practice a couple of them. Examples. There is a concept with the circle that when you're going in the unit circle, it is going around and around and around. It's sweeping endlessly, kind of like the way you'd see a radar sweeping on a screen. Don't know if you've seen that before, probably in movies or something. It's going in a rotation over and over and over again. And when it does that, it hits those aircraft that are, or whatever it's looking for, the ships or the aircraft or whatever, it hits them on the screen, blipping over and over and over again. Well, that's called a positive rotation. It's usually in the positive direction, okay? Those are just extra rotations of the circle. So that is a concept that you also need to get, that this circle just keeps rotating around over and over and over again. So the first time around, let me go with different color here. Let's do something different, like light blue or something. Okay, so the first time around, you hit this and you're at 150. But then you keep sweeping around like the radar. You go around. Now it is 150 plus one rotation, which is what? One rotation plus another 360. And then it keeps going around again. And now it's 150 and you've had two rotations going around there. Plus 2 times 360. Do you understand? All of those, it keeps going 150 plus 3 rotations plus 4 indefinitely, right? So the point of that is every one of those angles is coterminal with 150. So 150 plus every rotation. I'm just going to do it like that. That's the number of rotations right here, that K. Okay, so 150 plus, if K was 0, right, that would be no rotations. If K was 1, that was 1 rotation. If K is 2, that's 2 rotations. K is 3, that's 3 rotations. Okay, so that is 150 plus every forward positive rotation. You could also do a backwards rotation, so it would be negative 210 minus every backwards rotation, right? Negative 210, then backwards, keep going backwards in the backwards direction clockwise, plus another, minus another 360, minus another 360, minus another 360. You're always going to be hitting this terminal side here, but they are none of them in standard position. None of those. Okay, let's do a couple of examples now so you get that a little bit better. So I'm just going to quickly draw. It's probably not going to be very pretty. Okay, there's a circle. Ooh, that's really bad. Sorry. Try to make it better. Okay, so here's your circle, the X and Y axis. Let's see. Let's do something else like, what can I do here? Change the color back to, there's a nice color. Let's do like 200 degrees. Okay, so here's your initial side at 0. Okay, and then you're going in the positive direction. There's plus 90, plus another 90, that makes 180. So if you went another 90, that would be 270, that would be too far. So you're just going a little bit beyond there, right? And there's your terminal side right there. So here's the direction you went from 0 to 200. That's 200 degrees rotation in the positive direction. This would be in quadrant 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what would be some coterminal angles with this? Okay, so this is good, right? Because this is standard. Okay. What would be some other ones that are not so nice? Let's do some negative rotation. So that's one of them. Backwards 90, backwards another, what is that? 200, that's like 20 beyond there. So that would be like minus 90 minus another 70. So that would be negative, what is that, 160? Correct, right? So that would be coterminal. That's coterminal. And then what else is coterminal would be if you're going around 200, that's your first time around, and then 200 plus every rotation after that. So that would be 200 plus every rotation, every positive rotation. And the way you'd write that is 200 degrees plus 360 K, where K is an integer. Or you could say it's negative 160 if you're going in the negative direction, negative 160 minus every rotation afterwards forever and ever, right? So just like a radar, it's like blip, go again, one circle around, blip, one circle around, blip, one circle around, blip, one circle around, blip. Or backwards, let's do it backwards in a different color. Okay, you start here, same initial, right? Initial side, blip, go another whole circle around backwards, blip, another whole circle around, blip, another around, blip, blip. Okay, so that's not a very beautiful picture like that, but I hope you're understanding and this helps out a little bit. Let's try now a couple of examples and then I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to clear this off right now. So let's do this problem. Let's do 16 pi over 9. Where in the circle is this? Put it in the right quadrant. And then maybe you want to say put it in standard position. And then maybe we want to list some coterminal just so we're getting practice. Okay, so 16 pi over 9. Who likes working in radians? Nobody. So we're going to do a little radians to degrees conversion right here. Okay, so the way we get rid of the pi is we want to put the pi down here below. And so remember, like feet to inches, it's like 12 inches in a foot. So radian to degrees, it's 180 degrees is the same thing as pi. Pi is half a circle, 180 degrees is half a circle. Okay, so now you know the two pi's canceling out. Okay, and then 180 is the same as 9 times 20, right? 180 is the same as 9 times 20, right? 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 20. So now these 9s can cancel out. And then what are you left with? 20 times 16, that would be, yeah, the pi's are gone, right? So 2 times 16 is 32, so 20 times 16 is 320. Whoops, sorry. I said 320, but I wrote a 360. 320 degrees. Okay, so let's draw a circle again and find the quadrant, right? That's the first thing is we want to find the quadrant there. So make a nice circle. Here's quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we always have our initial side starting here at 0 degrees. Okay, and then we're going in the positive direction, which is counterclockwise. So there's positive 90, positive 180, positive 270, and then somewhere over here, right? If you went all the way around, it would be 360. So it's somewhere here in this fourth quadrant, you're going to have your terminal side. So initial side, terminal side. Okay, and there is 320 degrees right here. Okay, so we found that it's quadrant 4. It's in standard position, is 320 degrees is standard position. Okay, because that's in between one rotation from 0 to 360 and it's positive. Coterminal angles, those are the ones that we just need to understand the concept so that you can see coterminal angles have the same initial and terminal side. So what would be coterminal is probably a negative angle. So what would go backwards to that same spot? It would be backwards by 40 degrees, correct? right? 320 and another 40 would make 360. So that's negative 40 degrees right there. That's one of them. Or any backwards rotation by from negative 40 and backwards every rotation after that. So, okay. Or what would be coterminal if I told you it's positive 320 and all the rotations after the first one, where you get there. Okay, so in other words, 320, plus 360, that would be, what is that, 680? So 680 degrees, that would be like going around one time plus, right, to the first 320 plus one more rotation. So 680 would also be coterminal with that. And you could just keep adding 360 to it. But that 680 there, that's not standard, right? That's not in between 0 and 360. It's not in the first initial rotation. It's a second rotation around there, okay? All right, so let's try another example after this. Clear this. Let's do negative 110. Negative 110. Oh, I can't write today. Sorry. Okay, so let's find it on the circle. So I'm going to draw a circle now. Hopefully not too wonky. That's kind of wonky, but sorry. So negative 110. So we're starting here's our terminal side and we're going negative. So backwards 90 plus a little bit more, right? Into there. Backwards another 20 there. So that would be the terminal side doing it that way. So this would be negative 110 going in that direction. So that looks like this is in quadrant 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Is this in standard position? No, because it's negative. Okay, so let's do a positive rotation one time around. So that would be positive 90 plus another 90. That's 180 all the way to here. Well, how far is that? Remember, from here to here is 90. Let me get rid of that. That's not very pretty. Sorry. Right? From here to here is negative 90. And then you went another 20 here. Those two add up to negative 110, right? So you're 20 degrees into this quadrant here in quadrant 3. So the whole quadrant is 90 degrees. So going in this direction, that would be plus 70, right? 70 plus 20 is 90. It's a positive 70 there. So this thing would be 180 plus 70. In the positive direction, right? 90, 90, and plus 70 right there. So that would be 8 plus 7 is what? 5, carry the 1, 250? Does that sound right? So 250 is standard position. And it's in quadrant 3. And then you know all those coterminal angles are the negative angle or the rotations that come before or after, right? Going in the negative direction or the positive direction. Okay, let's do one more example and we'll call it a day with this one. I'm going to clear this out again. Now let's do 990. There you go. Example. Okay, so here you go. This is maybe now this will firm this concept up for you. 990 is way more than one rotation, right? One rotation is 360 degrees. So what I would do is just subtract 360 degrees from this. Let's subtract one rotation from it, and you're going to get, what is that, 630 now? Is that correct? Still more, way more than one rotation, right? So I'm going to subtract another rotation off of that. So what is that? 13 minus 6 is 7, and now that's 5 minus 3, 2, 7. There you go. That looks better. That looks something like in the first rotation, right? The first 0 to 360. So this is, if I draw the circle, try to draw it nicely, go away. Okay, so 0 degrees always is here, always, always, always. That's the Y and the X there. So we have our initial side always starting here. No matter which direction you're going, it's always starting here. And in this case, we're going to go in the right, positive. That's positive right there. So positive 90 plus another 90, that's 180, plus another 90, that's 270, that direction. Okay, so your initial side is here, your terminal side is right here, ending at 270. Okay. And if you wanted to just be contrary, or they gave you a problem like that, this is also coterminal. Negative 90 would be also coterminal with that initial side. Terminal side is also the same. All right. So also coterminal with it are all those rotations that we subtracted off of there. So 270 plus another rotation, that would have been 630. And another rotation after that, that would have been 990. And you can just keep going, adding rotations onto there. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to stop here with this. I hope this was helpful. And I'll see you next video. Thank you.